Nothing like a good blow job in the morning. A little looby dooby, just on the tippy tip. What? So what I'm working on right now is I am redoing fuel lines at the moment, because it's not uncommon to have fuel injectors get clogged over time using various fuels with the standard hose, you know, like the standard braided hose, which we, you know, it's tried and true, we use it all the time. But now that I'm running straight methanol, and I've been running a mix of methanol for the last year or so, it's more common and becoming more of an issue, even with the fuel filter, because it's deteriorating all of the lines, even the ones after the fuel filter, which get into the injector and clog the filters that are on the top halves of it. So I'm converting all my lines over to, and I need to plug in my light here. If I can find my stuff for that. Last night, Lolly and I were here. Lolly's my wiring guy that works kind of like in the later part of the days. We were working on we're going through all the wiring and trying to clean up the wiring itself, because there's a lot of pieces that are too long, and there's like one or two that I'd like to lengthen, and we want to loom it nicer, and then also convert some of the connections for the new injectors. So that's what's going on as well. Getting ready to order some more lifts here, and I'm looking for these two cars have never had their own lifts. And it's time for them to have their own lifts. So, but with that being said, what I'm doing is converting all my lines over to PTFE. And instead of being a rubber hose on the inside, which as I mentioned a moment ago, is deteriorating and causing it to clog the injectors, with the PTFE, basically plastic inner lining, that'll no longer be an issue. So I'm going through the painstaking process at the moment of doing PTFE lines, which is not necessarily painful, other than it pricking your finger like any other braided line, but things have to be, like the tolerances of them are far tighter. So when you make your cuts and you get ready to put things together, they have to be on a precision level. Otherwise it won't go together and it'll leak. So that's what I mean by painstaking. So right now I'm using a little tool here to fan out or spread out the braided area and expose that lining a little bit better. It's kind of like the opposite of doing a normal braided line, because you're always trying to keep it really tight and not have the lining ever open on you. But you got to open it so that you can get this olive in there. And with that olive, you got to get that on and align it properly. Tap that guy into position. You can see how I did that horribly on a terrible angle. So I've got to straighten that all out and prick my finger at the same time. I could probably do a better job of not pricking my finger if I put a glove on here. Nope, still pricking my finger through the glove. See if I can get this guy to move without this glove off here. This is not helping me at the moment. Come on, you. There we go. Okay, so now that I've got this lined up properly, more properly, take this guy here and press him in. And I've got to do like the Hulk smash style in order to get this together. This is my, I've actually got a tool, but I'm too lazy to pull it out right now. So we'll do the Hulk smash. Yeah, there you go. Much quicker for me at the moment not to have to deal with grabbing that tool. And then I simply bring this line up to there. Make sure that I got this all the way on there. Yeah. And then these two pieces go together. I'm going to need to go over to the other side of the shop so that I can use the vise to finish the part up. So, tip for you guys at home if you're ever doing something like this, definitely want to use the right tools, but also if you're trying to avoid accidentally, I should say, nicking the anodizing on your fitting, put some felt tape, just one layer of felt tape on the jaws of your AN line tool, wrench, and it's just a small layer of protection to prevent you from having to accidentally do that. Some people do put it on here, and you can see some of us were using it in that manner before, but you really, as long as you have a good clamp, on the vise part of it, this part shouldn't move. You really shouldn't need it for that part, but this has a tendency to possibly slide by accident while you're doing this, so not a bad idea to put some. You really want to have good visibility of what's going on in this head area. Slightly raised from where it is. The other thing about these lines, with them being plastic, trying to get the right orientation, is like you don't want to kink them or crease them in any way, because the inner lining has a tendency to crease if you really bend them hard. That's the downside of this stuff, as opposed to the rubber lines, which, you know, you can crease the actual braided lining, the metal braided lining, steel braided lining I should say, but the rubber itself typically doesn't, you know, crease. Now the inner lining on this can pinch and crease and then cause flowing issues if you do that. So I just wanted to make sure that I have the head of the fitting in the right orientation that I want it in, so that when I do final assembly, it's where it needs to be. Because unlike the normal fittings from Vibrant, the heads will spin and swivel even after being torqued all the way down. However, the PTFE ones, when you lock them all down, they don't really move. So, at least the way I like to do it. So I'm just kind of reference the orientation and try and keep the head of this exactly where it's at. And it will spin on me when I get down to the bottom, but at least I can try and get it set up in that orientation where I had it. So, knowing how close I am to the finishing point here, I'm going to clock that to where I want it to kind of spin towards the end. There you go. Pretty clean. So you can see how this does not want to move at all now. And that's why I was trying to make sure that I referenced the orientation and got it clocked correctly. You doing all right over here, Dommy? Before I go back over there, I need to blow this line out really good. Nothing like a good blow job in the morning.
Yes! 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 Yes!
You know me and my blowing. Yeah. Little looby dooby. Just on the tippy tip.
What do you mean by that?
Oops. What was I supposed to do on the top side here? Or on the bottom? I'm trying to remember if it was top side or bottom. I believe it was top side. Why won't you go in your home? So like, because of all the problems I've had with the fuel lines deteriorating over the years, I've replaced them so many times, but it's not until now that I've decided I'm just gonna go ahead and switch over to PTFE and stop dealing with it anymore. There's too much other maintenance items on the list for this car every season. Trying to worry about fuel lines always having an issue is not ideal, so. But it looks like this will work out perfectly in terms of the length that I have and the fitment. Crazy thing about PTFE lines is how much smaller they are. Like, this is a -10. This looks like a -8 or less, like a -6 almost, you know? Looks like so small for this car. Fittings are tight. Tight like a tiger.
How long have you had this car for?
I've had this car for since 2000 for 10 years. Yeah. Yeah. I bought it, like, long story, but when I bought it, I was like, I'm not going to turn this into a race car. Because I bought it after being sort of a lost soul, after selling my Subaru STI race car that ended up hitting the wall, and I just like let go of that whole deal, you know. Sold it like day after that, and then played a lot of golf, drank a lot of beer, was kind of lost, and came across this one. So when I got it, I was like, oh, I'm not going to race it and do that again. But I like drove this to work with, you know, had it parked outside at Bosch, and Josh Jarvis was like going to lunch and like, oh, posting shit on Chicagoland Petrolhead Car Spotters. and me like being in the group and be like, that's mine. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah, I used to want one of these before I got the Z.
Have you seen in this thing yet?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm getting ready to do a dual parachute setup on the rear. That's like the next thing on the list after I get this lifter situation. Do you want me to show you next door what we're doing next door, man? Let's do that. Let's keep it fresh all the time. Okay, so walking into the new space here, which is directly next to the other units that we have. The other space is considered two units in terms of its space and size. And this is similar to that in a sense currently, but we're gonna be splitting it in half. So once construction's done and we get our permits approved, this will have a wall here to here, and we will luckily have this nice kitchen area, which we've never had as a team. We're always eating around the shop, so we'll have a space. These lights that are in here are set up kind of weird. I don't know if it's motion sensor or what, but we're gonna get that all fixed too. So we're gonna have a nice area for our team to actually have food and drink and refrigerator, which is gonna be very nice. And then moving over here, this is like technically the other office, right? So this is kind of where the office is in the other shop. Well, we are going to be we're knocking all this down that you can tell. And we're gonna be putting a wall up from here to this middle post here. And then everything this direction will be in the shop area. We're gonna be putting a window up here and probably like a high top table and some bar stools so that people can watch while their cars are being dynoed. Because we're gonna have our Pro Hub all-wheel drive dyno set up in this area, and we wanna have a nice dyno space for the customers to be able to check this all out. Inside of here is where we're building out the next space. And like I said, this is currently considered 2 units. We're not taking all of this space. What we're gonna be doing is, once we get permits approved, we're gonna be putting a wall up here that will split these 2 units, similar to what I was mentioning earlier in front. And then we will have this space as our additional area. We're gonna put 2 more lifts in, similar layout to the front unit over there where the office is. And it'll still be another dedicated space for us to have customer work and personal work. Because right now, all of the race cars like the Porsche and the Evo are using quick jacks in a corner. Those are gonna move over here and have their own dedicated lifts, which they deserve. And then we're gonna entertain adding another lift in the other space in that area where they're currently sitting. So that's what's going on this side. This will be built out to look and feel like the rest of the units. Nice floors, nice walls, but still under construction, highly anticipated, anxiously awaiting permit approvals and the painful process that is going through all the stuff with that and villages. But nonetheless, we're getting it done, and as soon as it's ready, we'll be opening it up to the public. How's everybody doing today? We're good. Cool. I want to have a team meeting real quick, if you guys don't mind. So, as you guys know, it's been kind of a crazy year, and I've been through a lot actually in the last year with all of you over time. Each one of you guys is a big part of this team. Tom, you came back, that was awesome. Tom, you've learned a lot and you've brought up your skills a lot, and that's helping tremendously. Jay, you being here in the time that you've been here in a very short period of time have brought more tools than I ever knew. No, I'm just kidding. You've done an amazing job, dude, and I'm just proud of all you guys. Like recently, I went on vacation, and you guys know how much it scares me to leave the shop open and have you guys doing all this work and taking care of customers with me not around. But when I came back, I couldn't have been more proud. So, yeah, I mean, And it's important to me that we're all not only a good team and everybody's seeing the business scale and seeing their paycheck scale, you know, we're all going in the right direction, but it's important that we're having a good time, right? Because like we're about racing and the weather's starting to get nice and we talk about doing things and having fun, but we get really, really busy and then we have other responsibilities like kids, right, Jay? So it's just important to me that, you know, I make sure that my team is equipped to be successful, right? We talk about having the right tools to be successful. And all of you guys have followed me across the country and supported me and done a lot for me. You know what I'm saying? And it's just important to me that you guys understand how much I appreciate you and that I'm dedicated to not only scaling this business, but also scaling our careers and wanting to be here for the long haul. So follow me.
Oh boy. It's gas powered?
Yeah. And you want to know something? This is the one off of Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah. So
I almost bought the damn thing.
So we talk a lot about like going go-karting and doing stuff as a team, but like we're all super busy and it's hard. And like, let's face it, we have a really nice lot over here in the back. Like we're the only business back here. So this lot is ours to play with. And I figured we should have some toys. So I've been doing a lot of research and trying to figure out what I could get for us to play with. And, you know, go-karts are one thing, but these things are a whole nother level. Plus, they can be both go-karts and drifters. So, like this one's set up for drifting, and we put different set of tires on it if we want to drive it, like as a normal trike. This one's currently set up as a normal trike, but has the parts with it that will set it up for drifting. So, and this one's like finished setup. This one is something I believe we'll end up putting some more work into and making our own. But, I mean, whether it's lunch hour or after work one day, you don't need permission, dude. Fire one of these bitches up and have at it. I told you. Like I said, we'll probably end up putting some wings on these motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? Maybe a parachute on this one.
No E.
All right, well, unfortunately, we got to get to work, but I couldn't hold out on showing you guys these things.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's awesome.
Appreciate you guys. Keep up the good work.